Hey, Soul Warriors. Today we are going to dive into something that is near and dear to our hearts, your spiritual potential. So, if you're feeling like you're a little off, falling a little short of that bar, wherever you're trying to strive for, this is the podcast for you.
Listen, we want to remind you, first of all, that you're already whole. Let's start from there. It's just one of those things that you feel like there's a little something, something happening and that you want to reach it, but that you already have everything that you need right now.
100%. So, these are going to be 5 things, 5 signs that you can tell that you are holding back spiritually. So, you can call bullshit on yourself.
Yeah. Because, we don't want to hold back. When we're going 150 miles an hour into our growth and figuring shit out and really getting into the nitty gritty of things, sometimes we lose that moment, if you will, of realizing that, there is something holding us back. What is it? Who the hell knows? But we need to figure it out so that we can continue to move forward. And these 5 things are like the key to really knowing if you're stuck there in either one of them.
The first one, are you in your comfy zone?
Comfy zone.
We hear this all the time about being in my comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone. Get out of the box. So what does that really mean? And how do you know if you're in it? Because maybe you feel like you're doing all the spiritual work, but how do you know you're in it? So are the days seeming repetitive to you? Is every day like get up, rinse, repeat, and that's it? You're kind of like not into things, not feeling really fulfilled, not feeling particularly enthused or excited about life anymore. That's one way.
One way that I can tell when I'm in my comfort zone is when I don't feel uncomfortable. Because every time when I'm like, oh, okay, everything's cool, da, 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 everything's, great. But when I'm not uncomfortable, then I'm like, okay, what am I not learning? What am I not tapping into? And that's how I can tell.
Yeah, if you hear yourself doing the I'm bored, you need to spice it up a little bit. You need to step out of that comfort zone so you are continually evolving.
Yeah, for sure.
Another way you can tell if you're stuck in your comfort zone, when you speak to whoever is closest to you or not, like just anybody you meet, are you complaining? Are you being judgy? Are you gossiping? I mean, I've been in a lot of work environments where it's constantly talking about what's going on at work and what Susie did and what John did and, X, Y, and Z instead of like, how can we enjoy our day better? How can we, get to know each other better? How can we have more fun? Like those type of things instead of like, how do we get into the drama that we don't really care for and we don't really like, but we're using that drama to try to spice something up.
Right.
Because we're bored.
I mean, when was the last time that you felt those butterflies in your belly? Think about that. What haven't you done that has given you that kind of feeling? And that's taking you out of that comfort zone so that you can grow. All the things that need to happen will happen during that time.
Exactly, because the magic really lies in this unknown realm. So check yourself, push yourself, understand that if you're taking a day of like, I'm going to be a lazy sloth and do whatever the heck I want, because you need time to reset your nervous system. You need time to get out of thinking and doing brain and all those things and all the checking all the boxes. That's okay. That's not you being in your comfort zone. That's you taking care of yourself. So please know the difference on those two.
Yeah.
All right. The second sign that you are dampening your spiritual growth down is resisting change. Everything changes constantly. It's the only thing that we can all truly count on.
It is a given.
But it's the biggest thing that people will move heaven and earth to try to avoid.
Yeah. I don't like change. Listen, change is happening regardless.
But I'm bored.
Yeah.
But I don't want change.
Exactly.
Listen to yourself.
Yeah.
Listen to what's coming out of your
I
mouth.
want to love, but I don't want my heart to get hurt. All these different things. It's like, listen, change is going to happen regardless, with or without you. You're never, ever the same person minute by minute, whether you want to admit it to yourself or not.
Mm-hmm.
We're constantly changing. I am not the same person I was yesterday, nor am I not the same person I was an hour ago, 5 minutes ago. It's always happening. So
So
don't resist it.
don't resist it, because you are holding yourself back by holding on to those old constructs of what you were, what you were taught as a kid to believe, all these things that we just hold tight to, like, but I'm a mom, and your kids have been out of the house for, not that you'll not always be a mom, but like people are living their own lives and you're still like in this construct of I have to, do all the mom things.
Right.
You're not allowing yourself to evolve beyond that role that you chose back then when
Right.
you became a mom. And these beliefs that we hold, I think that that's the biggest thing that holds people back, is you're not
Yeah.
even realizing that you were just raised in a certain type of community around certain types of people, and you took on all these behaviors and actions and feelings and the energy of the place where you spent the majority of your time, and it's imprinted you, and we're not taking the time to actually recognize that
Yeah.
and dismantle it.
And I think, it's fair to say that if those are the things that you're happy with, awesome.
Yeah.
Acknowledge that, honor them, and all that. But at the same time, what are you not experiencing that's going to bring another level of change in your life, especially if you're really yearning for it. So if you're stuck in that, I'm a mom kind of thing, when you really want to see more of like, but hey, here's the woman in me. Here's the lover in me. Here's the, those things. You kind of put those in the background because you're so focused on being mom.
Mm-hmm.
But when the kid's gone and everything's all said and done and you've done your work, okay, now the woman in you needs to come out. The lover in you needs to come out. The wife in you needs to come out. All those things, or just the adventurous, wild, being that you are, because we all are.
Right.
We just tend to tame it a lot of the times. That comes out. So get curious about that instead of resisting the change.
And if you are having trouble stepping out of the comfort zone or actually recognizing where you're resisting change, step into your warrior side. And actually, we did a warrior archetype video, and,
Yeah,
and we'll
we
put
did.
that above so that you can check that out if that resonates with you. So you can grab onto that discipline and that strength to actually step outside of that zone and experience all these new things with a lot more ease. And I also want you to think of either the mother or teacher, one of your friends, your sister, or somebody that says something to you like, well, you should just get a job, or you should just break up with him, or you should just go out with her, or, whatever it is that they say. And it's just like, ugh, they're going to say it. You've tried to explain to them every which way to Sunday that that's not like, that's somebody that's resisting change. And if you go along with that to please that person, that's you assisting them in resisting their change and your change.
Yeah.
So listen to yourself when you're saying that. Like if you have kids or you have a friend or, you have a strong opinion about how somebody else should live your life, you're trying to resist the change that they're creating by living in their essence. And you don't want that to happen to yourself, and you don't want to do that to yourself. So don't be like, well, I need to do this because growing up I was always told that, if you were responsible, you had a job and a picket fence and an education, and this is how it worked. But jobs are different now. You don't need a job to make money and live. There's a million different ways. Technology is moving so fast. So people that, like parents who, or older people that, I don't know how to connect my cable box to my, or I don't know how to stream something. I only know my cable box, or I still have a landline phone. Those type of things, resisting the change that's coming or that's happening all around them.
Yeah.
Like these are just everyday examples. So please do your best to push outside of that, whatever your usual is. Mm-hmm. Number 3, unhealthy attachments. Take a moment and just think of what you're super attached to. Who, what, a place, a thing that you always have to have or have to have with you, that your world would end if you didn't have it. Think of that and think of why you're so attached to those things. And have you tried to step away from those attachments? There's so many different aspects of it.
there is so many aspects to attachment, and we definitely tend to attach to a lot of different things, and it in some way define who we are. Whatever we attach our emotions, our physicality to, is not who we are. It's some sort of feeling that we're looking for, or that particular thing or that particular person, you know, um, expressed a feeling within me, and that's what I'm looking to achieve or want or create again in my life. But yet, while you're doing that, you're still attached to this, so letting go of that and focusing on the feeling that you want to create then gives you that opportunity to be able to experience it differently,
Right.
and sometimes even better.
And think of holding on to something or being super attached to it as holding it tightly. And like, know that if somebody's holding you tightly and squeezing, like, you don't have any room to grow, you don't have any room to breathe, you don't have any room to be. And the same is with your energy and your spiritual growth and potential. So just trying to like loosen and loosen, and like you said, focus on the energy, because a lot of people will get attached to like, say, a job they hate. They will fight to keep that, why they have to keep that job they hate, because it's an attachment to the job. It provides a sense of safety to them, and that's why they're so attached to it. You might not be even realizing all of that. But once you start to step back and look at it, you'll realize where you're holding yourself in unhealthy positions, where you're holding on too tightly to, say, somebody that you truly care about. So you're not, with holding on to that tight, again, you're not allowing the relationship to expand, the relationship to breathe, to evolve, to grow. So your spiritual growth can't as well.
Right. And also, saying to yourself, well, this is just the way I am. That's an attachment to someone that you think you are. Listen, a lot of the times when we're in a situation, there is a part of us that comes forth, represents for that moment. Okay, does not mean that that person, that being within you, is what's going to be the rest of your life. That's not the way it works. That's you having an attachment to that particular part of you. Okay, so if you want to experience something, please give yourself the opportunity to say, I'm going to let this go. I'm going to let go of what I think of myself or what I think about this situation, so that I can amplify the energy that I'm looking for. I remember a lot of the times I used to say, and I used to say this a lot back in the day, that forever is as good as it lasts. And that's one of the things that I focused on a lot on, because forever to us can really, really mean 5 minutes, 10 minutes, a year, a lifetime. There's so many variations of it. And I think that a lot of the times we forget that. So don't get attached. Especially if you're doing something and you're waiting for the outcome, don't get attached to the outcome, because it'll come to you the way it needs to.
Right. If you're holding on that tight to it, again, it can't manifest because it's being held right where you're comfortable with it. This is what I put out. This is what I want. And I'm holding on to that. Like, there's no expansion room. Right. I know that once I was really, and you're going to get attached, just so you know, we all get attached to lots of things, and it's hard to, part with them and whatnot. But I was attached to a person at one point, and I couldn't get them out of my head. I couldn't get them out of my energy field. Like, it was just this constant thinking about, pining on and on and on and on ad nauseum. And when I recognize that, okay, what is it about this person? Because it's not really about the person ever. It's about yourself. And again, like you said, how you feel. And I recognize that I felt with this person like I was in my sovereign power when I was with them. There was a certain balance that went on that made it really easy for me to step into just a fuller version of me. And I freaking loved that. But I associated it with this person, not thinking of it like this person handed me a gift and handed me a blueprint of how to stand in my spiritual growth and my essence fully. And once I recognized that, every time I thought of this person, I could pull myself back into like, okay, I need to step further into me. And how am I going to do that? Because I don't need another person to do that, to step into me. So I got more grateful for this person, more grateful about the connection, but placed more importance on me stepping fuller and more fully into myself. And the more I did that, the bonds loosened. I still think of the person, still care for them dearly and deeply, but have been able to become more myself since I let that go. I had held myself in a holding pattern back to when that relationship was. So it can really stunt your growth in so many different ways. So if you find yourself stuck on something or a repetitive story, that's your tell. That's totally your tell. Loosen the bonds until it just dissolves and you let go.
I want to give you a quick message before we get back to this episode. Unlock the secrets of your soul for free with Soul Notes. Say goodbye to feeling stuck and hello to the validation of your alignment. These weekly prompts are filled with reminders, gentle nudges, and sometimes a kick in the ass, all with love from your soul. Don't just take our word for it. Try Soul Notes for yourself and see the difference it can make in your life. Trust us, your soul and you will thank you. Just go to soulnote.org. That's SOULNOTE.org. Now back to our podcast.
Go.
I think that the best way you can put it, that you put yourself in a holding pattern, and that's what we do, and that's where the attachment sits, to whatever it is that you're attached to. I can honestly say to this day, I'm still attached to someone, but differently.
Yeah.
Before it was very similar. There was a certain feeling that I was looking for. There was a certain thing that I was looking for. And that's how I kept attaching. Now, even though the attachment is still there, it is completely 100% different. Because I've changed. The person has changed. So many things in the connection has changed. So there is no way that I can apply this to what it's now. So we're going to get attached. Please understand that. It's just how we evolve within it as well, or let it go.
Right. Because those attachments are just like energy cords linking up when it's time for something to be activated or something to be experienced. It doesn't have to be a forever, but it feels like a forever in that moment because it's exactly what you needed in that moment. Yeah. That's just something to be totally honored. Mm-hmm. And if you have somebody that's attached to you, it is your responsibility to move out of that attachment situation if you at all possibly can, because letting somebody consistently put on you of how they need you to be and what they need you to be for them, again, is not healthy.
And it's not your job.
Yes. So backing out of that and energetically unhooking from that is your course of action in that one. So
yes,
let's go on to sign number 4.
4. Neglecting self-reflection.
Yeah. We get a lot of comments when we talk about like an experience that we've had when we're explaining it, and people are like, really, in that moment, did you think those 5 things? Yes, I did. And the reason being is I have trained myself to self-reflect, and I've self-reflected so damn much that I can do it on the fly now.
We don't take the time to do some self-reflection. And it's so incredibly important to do.
Yep.
Daily. Hourly if you need to, so that you can really get to know so many different parts of yourself.
And this is what we talk about with being aware and being in the present moment, because if you are aware and in the present moment, you just automatically will self-reflect because you are a neutral observer at that point. So become as much of a neutral observer as you can to what's coming out of your mouth and what you're doing and where you're going and what your choices are, because so much is on autopilot right now. And then you're like, why isn't all my stuff manifesting? Why am I still feeling this way? Because you're on autopilot.
Yeah.
Meditation is a great thing to bring you more into awareness and more into that present moment. It's a great place to just, allow whatever the thoughts are, whatever the experiences are, to just filter through and then go where they need to go. This is a place of no judgment. This is a place of observing and reflecting, so that you can make better choices and more improvements and get to know yourself better.
Make it part of your routine. I mean, one of the best things that I learned when I was in coaching is that my coach always says, "Okay, let's drop in." And every time we did that, it was just like me checking in with myself, checking in where I am as far as moving forward in this coaching call, things like that. So it really gave me that opportunity. So when I'm doing my routine, that's one of the first things I do. I check in, okay, or I drop in, and then I go into my meditation. So
The tiny cat has visited us again. We apologize for the interruption. And a lot of people that I find that when we're coaching, that we're talking, or even just people we know in the community that say they don't self-reflect or don't know how to self-reflect or don't have time and there's no way to do it automatically, those are the people I find commonly self-reflect constantly. They just don't call it that because it's self-judgment. They're doing it in a negative aspect.
yeah,
If you have that negative voice about yourself going on in your head, you're reflecting a lot. You're just beating yourself up because of whatever voice you were trained in, father, teacher, mom, or whoever was that voice for you when you were younger, partner, whatever. So if you're finding that you have a lot of negative self-talk and you're like, oh, that was stupid, I shouldn't have freaking said that, that was dumb, blah, 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 like all those things, or I can't do anything right. I had somebody who I was telling a story about a friend who had done something phenomenal for her kids. And I was like, oh, she did this. And then she said that to them. And the kids realized this. And she was like freaking the best mother ever. And the person stared at me for a while. And then I'm like, what? And they're like, so I'm not a good mother? And I'm like, what? I wasn't even talking about you. I was talking about this person. Yeah, but you weren't talking about me being a great mother. Well, maybe I was to somebody else telling a story of something cool you did. Like this had nothing to do with you. But so these are the things, the way you're taking stuff in. Are you taking things in to be comparing yourself to other things and other people? Are you beating yourself up constantly? Are you constantly looking for that evidence that you are less than? So this self-reflection is not oh yeah, I did great there, and an egoic side. Like these are your inflated and deflated sides of self-reflection. This is right in the middle. Again, that neutral, really powerful word there, neutral observer, where you're just like, I did that. I could have done this better if I did that. I did pretty well there. I did the best I could in a situation. So even though I didn't really say that quite how best I could have, it was the best I could have in the moment. Next time I'm going to do whatever it is that you feel suits you better.
yeah. And I have to put in there the fact that when you're doing self-reflection, be super honest and raw with yourself. This trying to fool yourself bullshit isn't working.
No.
Okay? Be honest with yourself in all of it. Because, bottom line, none of it is wrong. Okay, I know that in our minds and
We've
how
been
we
taught
feel
right or wrong.
that it's right or wrong or whatever. No, take that part right the fuck out and just be super honest with yourself when you're in the moment of self-reflection. Please.
Like when a kid is learning to walk and they fall down, you don't be, stupid little kid, you're never going to learn how to walk. What a useless little
Right.
baby you are.
What would we do when kids would fall?
Hey, you're okay.
So that they wouldn't cry.
Let's let you get back up again and let's try again. I'll help you this time.
So you make it a game.
That's how you talk to yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Be your own fucking cheerleader.
Yeah. Like, okay, I didn't do great that time. That's okay, self, because I just learned that. I'm going to support me, or I'm going to go talk to my friend who always is able to help me reflect on my stuff, and I'm going to figure out a better way.
Yeah.
Like think of yourself instead of that automatic judgmental becoming whoever that person that did that to you and sinking down into that little kid that was put upon. Step into the I'm a leader here. I'm a leader in my own life. And that's not okay to talk to myself that way. I understand why you're doing it. It's because of these old triggers. I get that. So it's nothing that you did wrong. It's just old triggers, and we're going to start to try to work on those so they don't happen as much and build up from there. So zero judgment as much as you can, as much neutrality as you can, and a shitload of self-compassion is what's called for here to help you move on in that spiritual potential space.
Sure.
All right, the last sign, the dreaded fear of failure.
Oh my goodness.
Dum dum
That's
dum.
like a
The ultimate F word in the spiritual community.
for sure. I mean, fear of failure, the first time I heard that, I didn't understand it. I I try to wrap my brain around it. And I just couldn't. Fear of failure.
She still can't,
Just
apparently.
just give it a thought for a minute, because I'm going to have to turn it to you, because really I just something I really can't understand.
Okay, so say your friend came up to you and they're like, "Hey, what'd you do this weekend?" And you're like, "Oh, little Jordan had a little league game." Awesome. Did Jordan win or lose? Did his team win or lose? Oh, he lost. Oh, that sucks. The team must be awful, and Jordan's a horrible athlete, and he's never going to amount to anything in his life. Would your friend ever say that to you? No. No. Or you're approaching a friend. Hey, what'd you do this weekend? I went to a Red Sox game. Awesome. How was it? Not did the Red Sox win? I mean, you might ask that, but that's not the point. The point is the experience. Did you have fun? Did you learn anything? Did you just get to interact with other people doing the same thing? Like, it's the richness of life. So this whole fear of failure is bullshit, meant to cause us not to involve ourselves in that richness of life and not to go after it. It's meant to keep us complacent. And that's why success has been shoved down our throats, that it looks like, the Lamborghini and the flashy gold chains and, the beautiful partner on your arm where everything looks perfect. And I think we've all recognized right now, if something looks perfect, it's not.
That's the damn truth.
This is why we just get up here and just be ourselves and talk.
Yeah.
This is not like polished, perfect stuff, because we want to be real with you.
Right. I mean, the bottom line, every failure is a stepping stone to something greater.
Mm-hmm.
If you can really wrap your brain around that, instead of being fearful that something's going to fail, it's like, fuck it, it'll fail. So what? I'll learn something from it. Versus, I'm not going to go there because I'm afraid it's going to fail. That makes no sense. Mm-hmm. That's you getting in the way of what can possibly be the most outstanding, dynamic, wonderful, loving situation you can get yourself into. But you're too afraid to even take that first step. And if it turns out to be shit, then fuck. That's one hell of a lesson you just learned. That's one way you've got to find out, yeah, I didn't like this. I didn't want this. I enjoyed that though. This worked for me. You get to know the things that you really, really want in your life. So stop being fearful of failure, because failure, like I said, is a stepping stone to something so much better than where you are right now.
And you might be like, just stop doing it. Okay, Wolf, like, that makes it sound really easy. It kind of is that simple.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's practice. You practice that muscle until you're like, okay, like, that didn't work. I'm cool. I'm going to go try the next thing. Like, you don't measure your self-worth by failures. Well, I actually kind of do. Mm-hmm. Because I reverse it. If I fail a lot, that means I stepped out of my comfort zone a lot. Mm-hmm. That means I self-reflected and pivoted and tried again in some different way a lot. That means I did all of these things. So I am spiritually evolving and growing. So if you need to judge yourself, just judge it in a good way.
Yeah.
Because we're just here to live the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, the rich things, the things we absolutely can't stand. We're here to experience all of it, because that's how we learn who we are, and that's how you reach your spiritual potential, not by avoiding those things.
Exactly. And to reach our divine greatness is the number one thing that we are here to do. If you can imagine how powerful, how great, how full of knowledge that you are, and work from there. Listen, the sky's the fucking limit. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to experience our own fucking greatness. And if we're consistently stopping ourselves from experiencing something that is worthwhile, what are we doing here? That's the bottom line. What are we doing here?
It is. So if any of these 5 steps resonate with you, please leave a comment below which one it was or what particularly stood out for you that helped shift you or just reinforce something that you're already doing. Either way, that's, phenomenal for your growth. Give us a like, subscribe to the channel so you get notified when we come out with more of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And just remember, you're never alone. We are here. Hit us up. Tell us what you want to hear more about, and we'd be more than thrilled to connect with you and happy to talk about it.
Yeah. Be kind.
Peace.